How are you, everyone? Today we are going to talk about the movie named Spider-Man No Way Home. Finally, this movie is released. Today, I enjoyed this movie in the theater. Personally, I can say, the whole video is full of spoilers. Please continue the full video to understand the concept of this movie. In this story, I will talk about the basic points of the movie. Because it is not a full HD video, I will upload a full HD video as soon as possible. Movie starts from the last part of Spider-Man Far From Home. It is shown that everyone knows about Spider-Man. Everyone was considering Spider-Man responsible for all the deaths. Many days passed and now the police arrive at his home. Everyone was seeing Peter as a sinner. He wasn't getting any job or admission to any college. He was worried. His best friends were also facing all this. They were also not getting admission to any college. This was the reason, and Peter reaches Doctor Strange while thinking about all this. He tells him, because of me my friends are facing problems. Everyone knows about my identity, that I am Spider-Man. My family is also in trouble. Can you erase the memory of the people in the world considering me Spider-Man? Another man arrives and tells him he is the supreme of this place, not Doctor Strange. Because of spending 5 years in another universe, that man knew everything about the place. He tries to stop Doctor Strange. He says don't help him. Doctor Strange knows Spider-Man helped him in saving the whole world. Because of this, Doctor Strange gets ready to support Spider-Man. He takes him to the basement. He does magic there. Doctor Strange says a spell to erase Spider-Man from the people's memory. Peter stops Doctor Strange. He says if you will erase the memory of the whole universe, there are some people I don't want them to forget me. My friends and MJ are included in them. I don't want her to forget me because I love her. But Doctor Strange was attentive to his magic. He removes MJ's name from the names. Peter immediately stops Doctor Strange in between the magic. He says my aunt is also most important, leave her as well. When Doctor Strange removes his aunt from the magic, meanwhile Peter remembers someone else. In this confusion, Doctor Strange also gets confused. The magic goes wrong. A piece was made in form of the magic. It wants to end Spider-Man. It comes to Peter. He doesn't know anything about it. He just wanted to get his and his friend's admission to college. He goes to the college head firstly. He discovers she is going out of the city. He reaches her car. He stops her car in the traffic and asks for help. He says please don't punish my friends, because of me. They were talking. Meanwhile Dr. Otto Octavius arrives. He has 4 sharp hands. Suddenly, he attacks Spider-Man. There was a huge fight between them. The Spider-Man couldn't understand why the doctor is attacking him. When Spider-Man wears the technology suit for his safety, some particles of his suit remain on the doctor's hand. This wasn't enough. Meanwhile the green cobbler arrives. Doctor Strange arrives and locks Otto Octavius in a cage through his magic. Spider-Man was also in front of them. They ask him who are they and why they come here. Doctor Strange tells Spider-Man the magic you make me do. You make me confused in that magic. The magic went wrong. The enemies who know Peter is Spider-Man come into this universe. Doctor Strange makes him understand and says do you know the concept of the multiverse? He was talking about other dimensions. Doctor Strange asks him whom you have seen there. Peter tells there was another man wearing a green suit. Doctor Strange tells him he has died many years ago. How he has arrived here. He gives his gadget to Spider-Man. He has done magic in it and says to Spider-Man you have to bring your villains here. Later, I will send them back to their world. Peter needs help in all this. He brings Ned and MJ with him, so they can help him. They sit at the place that was a basement called the Magic Place. They start doing their task. It means to search for the villains coming from the multiverse. The people considering Spider-Man wrong had poured a liquid of green color on his clothes. Spider-Man's clothes were looking dirty. He wears the suit while turning it and moves on to his job. Spider-Man's new suit is shown here. It was of black color and was looking cool. Spider-Man reached the place where his enemies were. Spider-Man's friend says there was a great hustle and bustle a few times ago. Meanwhile, Electro arrives. He attacks Spider-Man. Sandman arrives for his help. The Sandman asks Peter, "Why are you fighting with him? How did I come here?" Peter says this is a long story. Firstly, we have to control Electro. The Sandman controls Electro firstly. He controls Electro and locks him into Doctor Strange's jail with Spider-Man. Doctor Strange was also there. He brings the lizard while imprisoning it. The Green Cobbler was worried because of his double personality. He breaks the mask from moving his villain personality far from him. Now they reach Peter Parker's house. They reach his aunt. Meanwhile, Peter arrives and tells them, "We will send you back to your universe." They reach the magical place of Doctor Strange while taking them. Here, the villains face each other. Otto Octavius asks questions from them. That you died many years ago, then how do you remain alive? They say yes, we have heard about you. While talking they discover, they come into this universe when they were dying. It means they can lose their lives while returning back to their universe. Now, these villains don't want to go back to their universe and die. Peter Parker's aunt also makes him understand that the huge powers come from the huge responsibilities. He doesn't send them back in their universe while saying the spell of Doctor Strange. This is the reason for the fight between Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. He moves from there while taking Doctor Strange's bag from him. Doctor Strange wants to get his magical box from Spider-Man. Doctor Strange leaves him in his world. But Spider-Man also very clever. He thinks it is just a geometrical maths world. Spider-Man cleverly come back to the real world. After returning, Spider-Man discovers that Happy has a machine from which we can create anything. Means we can make any gadget. He reaches Happy's home while taking all the villains. He tries to repair the gadgets while making them. Otto Octavius comes at number 1. There was a chip behind his head. Spider-Man repairs it. With its help, he can control his powers. After him, Spider-Man repairs Electro. He sets a device on him so the device will absorb all the Electro power in him. Like this, Electro will again turn into a human. Meanwhile, the Green Mask's villain's second personality ruins everything. He suddenly starts fighting with all of them. All villains support him in this fight. Green Goblin says, "We have many powers. None can control us." They become together. They start harming Spider-Man. There is a heavy fight between them. All villains were included in it. One of the villains does a blast there. Peter's aunt also dies in it. The situation was out of control here. The villains have escaped and Spider-Man was alone. His friends think if he is alone, we should help him. Spider-Man's friend gets the magical rings of Doctor Strange. He does magic with the other hand, not with the magical hand. Meanwhile, a portal opens and the second Spider-Man of this story appears. MJ says, "This is not our Spider-Man. You have called the wrong Spider-Man." When he again makes his ring round, Peter means Spider-Man arrives. Both Spider-Men talk to each other. They ask each other, "Who are you, and how did you come here?" They understand the multiverse concept. They discover the villains have come into this universe together. They also discover there is a third Spider-Man in this universe. On him, all the villains have attacked. They have to help him while going there. From here, they reach the third Spider-Man. The third Spider-Man says if we have to defeat them, we have to consume their powers in a device. Then we will send them back to their universe. No matter, they will remain alive or die. This is their task. Now, they reach Happy's house. They find a machine that makes gadgets. They make the power, consumable device with it for their villains. The scene comes where the three Spider-Men fight with their villains. They were having a heavy fight with their villains. After defeating all the villains, now it was the turn of Green Cobbler. He was showing his normal personality to everyone. The Spider-Man whose aunt was ended by him beats him a lot. Meanwhile, the other Spider-Man comes and saves him. He says he has the right to live. Leave him, but the villain also acts wisely here. He stabs a knife at the other Spider-Man, the Spider-Man who has saved him. The third Spider-Man comes and puts a dart in the human personality of this villain. Then, all the villains become humans. When everyone turned into humans, Doctor Strange enters. Doctor Strange asks Spider-Man's friend why he has locked him here. He was hanged for 12 hours in his universe. Ned says Spider-Man is making everything fine. Please don't go there. When he will make everything fine, you can erase everything in your turn. Here, they three become successful in their task. They change all the villains into humans. Now Doctor Strange removes everything from his magic. He ends the villains back to their universes. Peter says to Doctor Strange, "You can remove my memories from everyone's mind if you want." Doctor Strange says, "If I will do this, your memories will erase in your nearby people. None will recognize him." Peter says to Doctor Strange, "If doing this can save the universe, you have to do this." After this, Doctor Strange removes the memories that Peter is a Spider-Man. At the end of the movie, Peter's friends are shown Ned and MJ, who know Peter. Now, they don't know him. His memories are also erased from their minds. About the good thing was, they got admission to the college. Peter goes to his aunt's grave. Happy meets Peter and asks him, "What are you doing here?" Peter tells him the reason was Spider-Man. He says, yes, Spider-Man was the reason. The first post-credits scene of this story shown related to this man. He was talking to the tender while sitting in a bar. Then he disappears from there with Doctor Strange's magic. Here the movie ends.